these policies combined could help in mitigating the effects of climate change on livestock. Strengthening regional early warning systems would assist in monitoring and anticipating disease outbreaks, and this would help in containing such diseases. This also would assist in the local economy through monitoring livestock markets. The development of public-private partnerships for livestock insurance would help pastoralists and advance their integration in the local economy. The regulations, application of transhumance regulations would minimize the conflicts and the friction between livestock owners and settled communities who mainly practice agriculture. Finally, expanding initiatives to harmonize data collection and market monitoring systems would help at the national level and regional level to integrate those pastoralists in the national economy. These are supposed to be the main policy recommendations adopted by regional and continental bodies. Advancing them will help in mitigating the effects of climate change, these are the basic. These are the basic. These are the basic policy recommendations. So I guess in adopting them, the effects of climate change could be countered. So as I said, it's really complicated on the ground, and there are many factors all related to climate change that will push and pressure livestock owners, whether they are transhumans or nomads, and expose their animals to new health risks caused by new pathogens, whether they are vector-borne, bacterial, or viral. This is the main effect of climate change. Other factors, such as armed conflicts, desertification, would compound the misery of livestock owners and complicate the situation on the ground. Well, at this point, I guess that's all, and I will be open for questions. Thank you. I would like to add something else. Uh, as I've shown, in this map, the Sahel zone. In this zone, pastoralists share the same practices. In this regard, I mean the same husbandry practices across all this area. So they endure the same situation in the case of climate change, armed conflicts, overgrazing, desertification, low rainfall, and the movement of animals goes in the same way from north to south, seeking new pasture lands, new markets. So the experiences are sort of similar, I guess, in West Africa, across the region to East Africa. So I understand that some participants are from this region and very engaged in the livestock sector in a way or another. So if it is possible, you might like to share your experiences. To see if there's anything in common, anything unique. I would like to hear about that. Okay, there is someone who would like to share something with us. Mahmoud Al-Khulaifi. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi, how are you? I think in your policy requirement, could you hear me, please? Hi, could you hear me, please?
I can hear you.
In policy requirement, I think in my experience, I work in agriculture extension and training in Nineveh Center, which is located in north of Iraq. It's followed by Ministry of Agriculture. We have the same issue with the livestock, especially with the fodder, especially in the winter. We have only alpha, the farmers who breed cow and buffalo. But I think 2 years ago, with the cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture and the European Union and FAO, I think, they bring some feed, green feed called regrass. I think is Italian.
Okay.
It's grow in September and harvest in November. Okay. And it continue to April. In this area, we winter in Iraq, especially in north, it's very cold. And this, I think, the same weather. And some farmers, they are very happy when they plant this because it's very good for quantity and quality for milk and meat.
Okay.
I think you can use this in Sudan because your representation in Sudan, we have policy recommendation for Sudan area. I think you can benefit from this subject. Thank you for your.
Thank you, Mr. Mahmoud. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's a good idea Mrs. Asma. Mrs. Asma Ahmed Mahmoud. You are welcome.
Hello. It was a nice presentation. I would like you to ask. That you are working in the veterinary research institute, right? Is
Yes.
there any cooperation? With any organization like OIE, FAO, and WHO, or another organization that in the state of making strategies or monitoring or any benefits from this? So, the diseases like Rift Valley fever and other diseases that affects our livestock. It's being done. If I'm asking this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asma. There are agreements with the veterinary authorities with those organizations that you mentioned, OIE and FAO and WHO. And there are some programs going on right now targeting livestock in the aspect of health, production, so on. And they're working together using these policy recommendations to mitigate the effects of climate change on livestock. Maybe there are some issues with the finance, but there are some strategies that are developed together collectively. And I guess from the evaluation, things are fine to this point.
Okay,
Thank you, Asma.
Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Nema Mustafa, you are welcome. Prof, do you hear me? Prof Nema. The floor is yours. Okay. We would like others from outside Africa, if possible, to share their experiences with the audience on this matter, on this subject of the effect of climate change on livestock. Please, Dr. Murtada, you're welcome. Do you hear me, Dr. Murtada?
Yes, I hear you very clear.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor, for this presentation. I actually have a question rather than comment.
Okay.
So my
Okay.
question is, we know that there is disease mapping, and this disease mapping is annually changing. So is there any link between the disease mapping in mostly or in particular for sub-Saharan countries in Africa and also some areas in Asia? So is there any link between disease mapping and climate change? For example, we know that Rift Valley fever now has been recorded in Asia. And I think this for the first time 20 years ago or something. And also we know that rinderpest, for example, also has a disease map. So is there any change in disease mapping? Is there any change in the prevalence of diseases? And if any, are these disease prevalence related to climate change, by the way, or other? Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Murtada. Of course, there is disease mapping concerning different diseases. Rift Valley fever, as an example. Animal trypanosomosis also. And these maps are periodically updated, and there is a link between the occurrence of these diseases and climate change. As I said earlier, flare-up infections would occur at certain times in the year. These outbreaks are documented and linked to climate change, specifically to the movement of herders with their animals into new areas. And this movement is driven by climate change. They move into new areas seeking pasture, water sources, because there is a lack in pastures due to the shifts in weather patterns. When they move into new areas, overgrazing happens. So they move again. This movement will expose their animals to new pathogens, and this would result in new outbreaks. And the effort of mapping these diseases is ongoing, annually, updating the maps and documenting new infections. And this applies to most of the livestock diseases. Thank you, Dr. Murtada. I would like to invite Dr. Noura Karam. The floor is yours. Mrs. Noura. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Regarding your recommendations here, yeah. So, are you going to follow these recommendations or just a recommendation for any conference? I hope we can follow it and we can improve our livestock, because Africa is, you see the main load of
Yes.
livestock in Africa. So we need to do something. We need to be positive. And also, a second point for climate change and disease mapping, as Dr. Mortada mentioned just now. Uh, do you follow the, and also after the genome sequencing of the animals? So any researches to improve the genetics of the animals to just overcome the diseases and the global changes, or nothing happened? Yes, they just left the animals aside. Did you have any statistical analysis for the genetic improvement of our livestock accordingly, or no? Thank you very much. I'm talking from Malaysia, by the way. You just
Okay.
mentioned that you need someone out of Africa.
Yes.
That's why I raised my hand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Salam
Nora.
alaikum. Salam
Alaikum
alaikum.
assalam. Alaikum assalam. Thank you very much. I totally agree with you. These recommendations should be adopted and formulated into strategies and advanced by all stakeholders. I totally agree with that. Regarding your second point, I'm aware of some projects, and they are ongoing. Targeting the genetic layout of different livestock species with the emphasis on improving their ability the ability of livestock, I mean, to withstand and tolerate the climate changes and the diseases that affect them. There are some programs. For example, there is a project, a current project right now to study the genetics of cattle in Sudan and the possibility of enhancing any Japan-tolerant traits that could be found. And there are, by the way, the Bagara cattle specifically show some sort of Japan tolerance. So if people can work on that, I think that would be good. Thank you. Ms. Noor. I would like to invite Professor Nema, if he can hear me. Professor. Professor Nema, are you there? Okay, I would like to suggest a 10 minutes break. Meanwhile, I would be very keen to hear other experiences from outside Africa, if possible. So even from Africa. So I will see you in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, محمد. محمد خضر. Hello, محمد. Hello. الو ايوه الصوت فاتح هاي طيب استخدم السماعه. طيب اوكي. طيب طلعنا السماعه. ايوه ايوه محمد. الو 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 محمد محمد. الو الو الو
hello Prof. Nirma. Now I think it is clear.
ايوه
Your voice.
سامعني مش كده؟
Yes.
سامعني مش كده؟
After few minutes you can start your comment. After 2-3 minutes.
اوكي.
You can hold on the
Okay.
voice. Okay.
Thank you.
Professor, voice is still not clear.
Welcome, Mr. Kamal.
Professor, voice of presenter is still not clear.
We will start in few minutes after break.
Okay, Professor.
Okay.
نفس نتابع الوجبه بتاعت البلان دي لاقيين تواصلي مع القسم الرئاسي
Welcome everybody. Now we will continue our session. We will start with Prof. Nema.
Yes, hello.
Yes, yes, you can continue, Prof. Nema.
Okay, thank you so much. It is just two questions. I will start with the first one of the situation of infections which are elevated by drug resistance phenomena. Dr. Muhammad, you mentioned that. And this has to do with One Health approach. As we know,
Sorry to interrupt you, Prof. I can't hear you properly.
Okay. Is it clear now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello? You hear
Yes,
me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. You talked about antibiotic or drug resistance phenomena.
Yes. Yes.
And as you know, that is part of the One Health approach. And as we all know that, the third and fourth generations of antibiotics now fail the resistance of bacteria. And I would like you to shed some light on this issue. The second thing, you mentioned on one slide, solutions and mitigation measures.
Yes.
You said that reversing the effects of climate change requires a participatory approach. So, my question, could climate change effects reverse? Everybody now is talking about it is impossible to reverse the effects of climate change. Hence, comes solutions, mitigations, measures for climate change. It is impossible to reverse the situation now. What do you think about this point? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Uh,
Professor
as for
Kenneth, hello?
sorry.
Hello?
Hello,
Yes.
Mr. Kamal.
Not audible.
Hello.
We can hear you, Mr. Kamal.
Yeah, is there any issue with the voice? Actually, we are not able to. There's a lot of disturbance.
You mean the voice or?
Voice, there is some background issue. That noise is there.
Because Prof. Nema, he was talking. I think the problem in the sound.
Okay, okay.
We can check now. We can check now.
Please.
Okay. Regarding your first point, Prof. Nema, the situation of or the phenomenon of drug resistance, this is the major issue right now, and it's affecting most of the herds, animal herds. We have this issue with antibiotics. Some of them are not working. Trypanocidal drugs also. The subdosing and the overdosing issue. And I guess we need to set a drug policy to control or regulate drug use, because right now livestock owners just buy drugs and use them. They administered them by themselves without any veterinary supervision. And there are drugs that are not registered. They are being used right now, smuggled across the border. We've seen that. It's an issue that needs to be addressed. And I think the government has to regulate the use of animal drugs through a strict policy. This is a major issue right now, and there is this problem with the drug residues also. And I guess there is a project or program sponsored by the FAO and WOAH trying to tackle this issue, this drug residue issue. As for the solutions and mitigation measures, by a participatory approach, I mean all stakeholders, governmental, non-governmental, livestock owners, even in farming communities, should engage collectively to set out mitigation measures that would assist people in coping with the effects of climate change. It's a major issue. It's sometimes it's difficult to handle these effects of climate change. So unless all stakeholders engage collectively in devising measures that would help communities to adapt and cope with the effects of climate change, things will get worse. Some people say that there are no solutions. I'm talking about mitigation measures, just to help communities adapt and cope with the effects. And I guess there is a program in Gadarif, Kasala, Yazira, North Kordofan, White Nile, and with technical support from the World Bank to help communities in coping with the effects of climate change that started in 2014 and will go all through 2023. And the results are promising. People are coping with the effects of climate change, the lack of water, the fluctuation of rainfall, and overgrazing. These are the components of this project sponsored by the World Bank. Thank you, Professor. Mr. Amin. Mr. Amin. Are you there? Can you hear me, Mr. Amin? Okay. As some scientists say, that there are direct effects and indirect effects of climate change. And here I would like to mention a study carried out in India, carried out by Firuz Othman and others. They reported an increase in mortality rate in Mesheri sheep during summer season due to a rise in temperature. This is a direct effect. Some other direct effects are the metabolic disorders and the immune suppression. These are all direct effects of climate change due to rising heat. Also, Han and Meder in USA also recorded the impact of a week-long heat wave in the mid-central USA, affecting animals. Regarding the indirect effects, the main effect is the exposure of animals to new diseases, namely the diseases transmitted by insects, vector-borne diseases, we would see a pattern of new infections every time livestock owners move to new areas looking for new pasture land. This is the main indirect effect that is reported, and that's due to climate change. So I still would like others to share their experiences regarding the effect of climate change on animal health. Okay, I would like to stress on something. This presentation was meant to be interactive, especially this section of policy recommendations. They need more discussion, so people can come up with measures that mitigate the effects of climate change on livestock health. There are many diseases and infections that are directly related to climate change. So this was meant to be interactive and explore different experiences from inside Africa and from outside also. Okay. Mrs. Noura, please go ahead. Can you hear me? Ms. Noura, do you hear me? Ms. Noura.
Yes, hello, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
My
Please, go ahead.
my microphone was muted from the host. That is why. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Actually, I have two questions. One question and the other is just sharing.
Okay.
The first question is, what is the role of ILRI, International Livestock Research Institute in Nairobi, ILRI? I visited it in 1995, so long time. They are working on livestock in Kenya, and they are sharing with Eritrea, and I think they told me that they need contact with the Sudanese. No any feedback, no any. They send emails. At that time, I think Sudan is like in emails is not so active, but they send many times for Sudanese. Even they have many instruments they want to donate for those countries, but no feedback. I hope you guys, young youth, you are active. Try to link those research institute in livestock together with the Sudan and maybe Yemen also and other countries. So this will be very nice to join all of them together and let them share in between them the things. If you have, I don't have, he has, she has. That's why we need to make one unit, one body of research in livestock. The second thing, so I need information about that if you have. This is my question. The sharing is, I'm working now in biofuel and and biopesticides. This is actually very nice door to knock, especially for our country is a diversity of plants. We can extract and make pesticides and to overcome the problem of these diseases and the ecosystem and the gas emission and so on. So most of my research in the bioethanol and biofuel, going to buy not chemicals, to help the ozone layer of the environment. Number 3, I want to ask, what is the effect of the global changes in the poultry breeding and industry? And thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Noor.
Thank you.
Well, for your first point, there were programs and agreements between different institutions here in Sudan and ILRI. One of them is our institution, the Central Veterinary Research Laboratory, and there is a focal point at the lab who's handling activities and organizing training courses here in Khartoum and in Nairobi. This program, even with the university and the animal production unit research center also, I'm not sure what's going on right now, but we used to work with ILRI in the past few years. As for the effect of climate change on poultry, climate change affects every sector, every species. The poultry industry is suffering also from the climate change effects. They are trying to in this sector, they are trying to minimize, the effects, but still they are affected greatly, just like any other sector. I don't have the records right now, but sure they are affected. As for the sharing, of course, we need to do this together. All stakeholders need to engage, as I said, collectively to assist in adapting and coping with the effect of climate change. So I agree with you. We need to share information, share experience, and share recommendations. Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Not bad. Miss Asma, go ahead if you can hear me. You hear me, Miss Asma?
Hello.
Yes,
I'm here.
Miss Asma. I can't hear you.
And so we can. Okay. I just want you to tell me a brief review about the diseases, seasonal diseases here in Sudan, so we can see the picture about the diseases here each season, and comparing this with other regions or with other countries, like maybe other countries in Africa or Asia, and just brief about these diseases, and what
Okay.
are the strategies being followed, or even maybe it's just only vaccination or moving animals or restricting areas or any other strategies that can be done so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asma. In Sudan, there are insect-borne diseases that flare up seasonally, like animal or cattle trypanosomosis, for instance, in a large area of Sudan. There's also tick-borne diseases, range of them. There are viral diseases, Rift Valley fever, and FMD, foot-and-mouth disease, and there are also bacterial diseases, like hemorrhagic septicemia. There are seasonal flare-ups of these infections. There is also avian flu. So these are the main infections that flare up seasonally. We have vaccination campaigns. This is the main strategy. There are no movement restrictions we haven't done that, although it might be effective in some cases. But no one can control the movement of animals, so they just move. We haven't restricted any movement at all. Mainly, the main strategies are to contain this disease, vaccination and treatment using drugs. Thank you. Yes, that's fine. I guess there is a problem with sharing the screen. I will shut it down and share it again. Okay. Before doing that, someone has raised their hand, I guess. Miss Noura. Miss Noura, yeah, welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. I didn't raise my hand actually. This is the previous time. Thank you. You already gave me chance.
Okay.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Nasruddin.
Thank you.
Mr. Nasruddin. Hello. Mr. Nasruddin.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
I hear you clearly.
Okay.
So my question is, what the kind of the policy would expand the livestock production and give the society equal benefit? And
Come again, please. Pardon me. Would you say that again?
Okay, we say what's the kind of the policy would expand livestock production and give society equal benefit? And other question is, what's the best way to ensure the good health for the people and the animals?
Okay.
Oh, okay. This is our question.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, policies generally for enhancing animal production depends on improving their health, improving their genetic traits, so as to tolerate the changes in the environment and trying to enhance their productivity, through either crossbreeding or impeding. So this is the strategy. With achieving this, that would automatically, maintain the health of people. Animals with high productivity, with good health, this would automatically benefit their owners. Thank you. I would like to shut my screen and refresh it so as to share the presentation again. Okay. Okay. Just to cap up, I would like to stress on the severe effects of climate change on livestock health. This is a serious issue, and as I've pointed out, as I have pointed out, it affects all sectors, all livestock species, and it affects lives, human lives. So unless we come up with mitigation measures to adapt and cope with these effects, they will get greater. So we need policies, we need follow-up plans. We need to adopt those policies collectively. All stakeholders need to engage. So because things are getting complicated each day. Unless we do that, I think people will suffer across this whole region, this whole zone, this Sahel zone. So government institutions or authorities, livestock owners, settled communities, farming communities should get together and devise strategies or policies that could help in mitigating the effects of climate change. This is my final remark, and I'm pleased to be here with you. Hope we can keep communicating with each other. I wish you a nice day. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Adam, for the informative presentation. Now we reach the end of our session. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.